Good morning, everybody. It's Victoria Thomas in the training department. I have our social media specialist, Maddie Morgan, with us. And Maddie is going to talk about apps to help your social media game this morning for our social media minute. As always, everybody on the call is muted. If you have any questions, find that questions panel in the GoToWebinar pane and type those in, and I will monitor those as Maddie goes through her presentation. So let's go ahead and kick it over to you, Maddie, and we can get started.
Awesome. Hi, guys. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining today. I don't know about you guys, but I am extra tired today. I think it's just the weather is getting colder and it's changing. I did not want to get out of bed this morning. So thank you all for maybe or maybe not getting out of bed and joining me while we talk about apps that hopefully help you guys out. Okay, so I divided the apps that I'm going to talk about today into 3 different categories, just kind of for ease of discussion. So the first category we're going to talk about are apps for photo editing and some free stock photo apps, and then some apps that help you create pretty postable content, and then apps that help you content plan and schedule that content. So full disclosure, these are obviously not the only apps that exist for these sorts of things. If you use something in this category already that really works for you, that's great. These are just apps that I have found that really help me. So I'm gonna share them with you and hopefully they help you too. I also tried to pick apps that have both a mobile and a desktop application so that you're not limited on the type of device that you're using. But if an app is mobile friendly, you'll see on the slides going forward that I do indicate if it is mobile only. All right, so first up are going to be our apps for photo editing. Creating a cohesive look, particularly on Instagram, is a lot more visually appealing to your audience. And the more that people like what they see, the more likely they are to trust you and engage with your brand on social media. I personally like Adobe Lightroom. You can upload or create your own presets, which makes editing super easy. So here, my example of my sunflower photo, that was with one click. One click and my sunflower photo went from the top version to that bottom version. And while the original photo didn't necessarily need to be edited, by applying a preset to all of my photos, I get a nice, consistent look throughout my entire feed. It looks more intentional that way. There are a ton of other photo editing apps you can use, so if this one doesn't work for you, don't stress. You can also easily edit photos in Instagram, which is an app you probably already have. This is a great option if you're not looking for professional photographer level editing capability. You can still keep your editing really consistent if you do it right in Instagram. Something to note about particularly listing photos, always ask your photographer before you edit any listing photos. They have more than likely applied their own editing to the photos they've taken, and a lot of times they'll ask you not to edit it any further. So keep that in mind before editing any photos that you got from a photographer. So some of the apps that I like to use to find free stock photos are Unsplash and Pixabay. The best part is that they're free. You don't have to, create an account or pay a monthly fee for that. Because to be honest, we're not all professional photographers. So these apps help you find free, high quality stock photos without any of the watermarks. And unlike Googling images, you don't run into the risk of getting into licensing issues after using someone's photo that you didn't have permission to use. So using apps like this, you get free, automatically licensed, no strings attached photos to use for your social content. So next time you're looking for a photo to use, go ahead and give one of those a try. Okay, so next we're going to switch over to this middle section here, which is a little bulkier. This is my categories for creating posts, and I'm going to narrow those down into 3 subcategories. So the first set is going to be for designing graphics, and then we're going to talk about creating videos, and then just some helpful kind of extras that I have found useful. So these are kind of the posts that or the apps that I use to add a little oomph to my posts. Okay, so first up are the designing apps that I like to use. WordSwag is really big on marrying text and image, so it's really great for quote graphics if you post quotes or that sort of thing. You can add stylized text to your own images, or you can use any of the images that they have within the app and at your disposal. You can kind of use those. It has tons of quotes and captions included as well. So you're never stuck trying to come up with what to say. I know I spend endless amounts of time like trying to find a quote or something to post, and this one makes it really easy because they're already kind of there. The iOS version of this app, the WordSwag one, is free, but unfortunately for Android users, it does cost $4. So keep that in mind. This is also a mobile-only application, so if you prefer to design things on your computer instead of on your phone, this one is probably not for you. I'm more of a design from my computer kind of gal, so I prefer to use Canva, which is mobile. I can have it on my phone if I need to post something really quickly, but I primarily use it on my desktop. So Canva is the next one we're going to talk about. It's another easy to use graphic design app, but you can make so much more than just text graphics. So WordSwag is great for text graphics, but Canva, you have a huge selection of templates, and you can make anything from a social media post or a text graphic to a flyer, a listing presentation, and really anything in between. So your possibilities are endless in Canva. Almost all the graphics that get posted to Tucker's social media were created in Canva, so you really can do all sorts of different things in them. Both WordSwag and Canva offer paid versions where you can kind of upload logos. If you have your own logo or you just want to throw the Tucker logo in there, you can customize your fonts and kind of like create a branding template. But the paid feature isn't necessary. I use the paid version of Canva, so I already have the Tucker colors and the Let's Talk font already uploaded, and it makes it really easy to keep my branding consistent. But the free versions still have tons to offer, so don't feel like you need to jump right into the paid options if you haven't already, gotten in there and figured out what it has to offer. And then the last one for design is Layout. So Layout is an app created by Instagram that lets you combine multiple photos into a single image. So it's like a photo grid, you throw in your pictures in. Because it's owned by Instagram, which is a primarily mobile application, Layout can only be used on your phone. All you do to use it, you just upload your photos, you choose from all these different layouts. If you select 3 photos, it'll give you a couple different grid options for grids with 3 photos, and you kind of pick whichever one you like, and you can drag and drop the photos into the open spaces and zoom in and zoom out and readjust them so that it's, once it's ready to go, then you can download it to your camera roll. So if you have more than one image that you want to upload on Instagram, especially if you don't want to use that carousel feature, where your audience is swiping through all of your photos, this is a great option to kind of display more than one photo at once. Okay, apps for creating video. So these aren't full-blown like video production applications like iMovie. Think of these as more tools to help you create animations. So Boomerang is the first one. It's also owned by Instagram and is therefore a mobile application only. Boomerangs, if you're not familiar, are kind of like GIFs. The only difference is a GIF repeats a video over and over again, but a boomerang plays a video forward and then backward and loops that. So let me click on my little example here. Hopefully it opens. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, so see how the video bounces forward and backward? So that's a boomerang. Okay, so for both the Instagram owned apps, so Layout and Boomerang are the ones we talked about, you don't actually need to download the app. So you can create a grid or a boomerang right in your Instagram stories. So on your like Instagram feed, if you swipe over into stories, you can create them right there and then save them to your camera roll. So if you have a ton of apps already and you don't have any room to download them, you actually don't need to. So that's a little added bonus. Instagram also has a really cool feature built into its stories. You can turn your live photos into boomerangs. I don't know if you guys knew this. So with live photos, your iPhone, like when you take the photo, records like a second and a half before and after you take the picture. So you take a live photo just like you do a traditional photo. It's a setting in your camera app that you just kind of turn on. But you end up with a photo that has movement and sound built into it. And so if you upload a photo, a live photo from your camera roll into your stories, and you tap it and hold it down, Instagram will actually turn it into a boomerang. So next time you take a live photo, try that out. It's a handy little tool there. So next up is Ripple. Ripple is another mobile app that allows you to create custom animations. Those can be shared on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Boomerangs can also be shared on platforms other than just Instagram. You can add, what's different about it is you can add text and music to your animations, which makes it really great for new listings, especially. And then similar to WordSwag and Canva, you can also upload your logo, use that in your little animation, and you can set up branding so everything is consistent across all platforms. I always preach to you guys about getting creative when it comes to sharing your listings and doing more than just posting the MLS link or the listing photos, and this is a perfect way to get a little more creative with that kind of thing. So I have an example for this one as well. So it has sound. You probably won't be able to hear it. I don't know if that just came across to you guys as loud as it did for me, but holy moly, my speakers are turned up loud. So that was an example of a Ripple. It's really easy to use. You can take a few photos from your new listing, and instead of posting them directly to Facebook or Instagram, you can create a short video, and like I just showed you, and it's more engaging for your audience to, you know, watch instead of just clicking through listing photos that they can Google and find anywhere. Adobe Spark is a lot like Ripple. Lets you create videos and text animations that are social media friendly. With Adobe Spark though, you can add your own audio. So if you want to narrate your own video of like walking through the listing, talking about the kitchen, whatever, you can totally do that, which is really cool. With the free versions of Adobe Spark and Ripple, you do have watermarks. So you'll see, you probably saw on that example, you'll see the little logo in the corner of your video. If that's something that bothers you, you can opt in for Adobe Spark's premium features for like $10 a month, and it lets you get rid of the watermark. And then both Ripple and Adobe Spark have desktop versions. So if that's something you're interested in, look into that. Okay, some little helpful extras. These apps didn't really fall into a category, so I kind of made one up. They're really helpful and worth mentioning though. So Repost for Instagram makes it really easy to repost photos and videos that you find on Instagram, and it gives credit to the original poster. You should always give credit when you use someone else's photo or video off of Instagram or Facebook. Whether or not you use this app, it's just a good idea to do that. The idea is that you want to make sure you're honoring the creator's work and not just stealing or using their content for your own marketing purposes. So for example, a couple weeks ago, we posted an image on Instagram for the Sherwin-Williams Color of the Year. The photo wasn't ours, so I made sure to tag the account, for the account that I took the photo from, tagged them in the photo and in the caption, just, indicating like, I did not take this photo. I didn't, this isn't my work. I want to give credit where credit is due. And Repost is an app that makes that really easy. TimeHop is a really cool app that reminds you of what you posted on the same day a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, however many. It's not only extremely entertaining to look back on your memories over the years, but if you're posting your clients when they close on homes, if you're posting photos of them at closing, it's a really handy reminder of these closings. It gives you a reason to reshare your post on the anniversary and to follow up with your clients on their closing anniversary. So that's a cool little tool to help you remember all of the closings you guys have. The last one in the posting category is HashMe. How many of you know that you should be using hashtags, but you find yourself wondering what to add? HashMe is a hashtag generator. So all you have to do is type in a word related to your post, and it will spit out a bunch of related hashtags for you to use. So if you type in new listing, it might give you a bunch of different options, a different variation of new listing for you to be able to add as many as you can. So if you download anything today, I think this is the most handy. You should definitely download this one. All right, last but not least, we've got this last section of apps for content planning. Content planning is like the Marie Kondo of your entire social media strategy. Not so much in the get rid of it if it doesn't bring you joy type of way. You still have to use social, don't get rid of it. More so like the hyper organized, where everything is when it's going out kind of way. So content planning is helpful for a few reasons. The first is that you actually end up saving time by being organized. It sounds really daunting, I'm sure, to like sit down and plan out, a month's worth of posts, but it ends up saving you time in the long run because you can plan ahead, you can batch your work, so if you decide you're going to do a video every week, you can go ahead and record a video, for every week in one sitting. And then it saves you time from endlessly scrolling, through generic inspirational posts, trying to find something to post. Trust me, I've been there. It's stressful and it's not fun. Content planning is the way to get around that. It's also really great for brainstorming. So when you start organizing your content into topics, chances are that you'll have a surge of creativity and it'll keep generating new ideas for you. And then lastly, you don't want to miss relevant moments. By planning ahead, you'll never forget to post on the 4th of July or the Super Bowl. Those sorts of things are easy built-in content that you shouldn't be overlooking anyway. But if you're not planning ahead, you might just forget about it. So, if you have especially too, if you have your day-to-day schedule filled in and something really exciting comes up, like maybe your listing is featured in Indianapolis Monthly, you'll have more time to slip that kind of content in at the last minute because you already have your posts built out. So these are the 3 main apps that I use for content planning. The first of the scheduling apps I want to talk about is Planoly. So Facebook, if you have a Facebook business page, Facebook has its own scheduling functionality, but Instagram does not. So I use Planoly to schedule posts, and you can kind of lay it out and plan it in an aesthetically pleasing kind of way if that's what you're into. You can drag and drop photos in the app and move them around until you're satisfied with how everything looks, and then you can schedule them for auto posting. Something worth noting with Planoly, the auto post feature is for business Instagram accounts only. You can switch your Instagram to a business account in your Instagram settings if you want, but it's still functional for personal use. Like there's no need to switch over to a business profile if you don't want to. The difference is instead of auto posting, Planoly will send you a notification at the scheduled time, and then you just have to go into the app and copy and paste it into Instagram and post from there. So you just lose the ability to, schedule it and forget about it, but it'll send you a message to say, hey, it's time, to post this. Another app like that is called Later. I have not used Later, so don't quote me on this, but it's another option, if Planoly doesn't work out. I also really use Google Calendar a lot. I use the Google Calendar to physically plan my posts. Visually, I really like to see it all laid out, so I'm not doing too many similar posts back to back. You can even print it out if that's easier for you. I'm big on color coding, so I like to, print out the calendar and kind of fill in the days and figure out what I'm going to post on what day. And then you can even put it, into your Google Calendar so you have it on your phone at all times. Trello is another great app. It's a list making app. It helps you plan your content into categories. I am a list making fiend. I don't know if any of you have that same problem, and I am also a post-it note abuser. Trello helps me keep all my lists in one place. I primarily use it to track the status of our Tucker blog articles, so I can brainstorm content in there, and then I have a list for when I assign it to the writer, and I can track when it comes back and when I actually physically post it. It's like a digital Kanban board if you've ever made one of those. So it lets you make lists for all sorts of different things and easily kind of check them off as you go. So that's another good one. So those are the apps that I use most often that make my life a little bit easier. If you have other apps that you use that you love, I would love to know what you're using. Feel free to shoot me an email. Let me know if something is working for you, or if it's not, you need a suggestion. Either way, I'd love to hear what you're using and see if there's a way for me to incorporate it into my routine. So if you guys have any questions or want to talk about an app or anything, I'll stick around for a few more minutes. And if not, have a great week, and thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Maddie. I do have a couple of questions here. Mary Ann, she just wrote Tailwind ? So I'm wondering if she's asking if you know anything about it or if she's suggesting it. I just searched it, and it's a Pinterest and Instagram scheduler and analytic tool.
Oh, cool.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I have not used Tailwind, but it sounds like it's definitely something worth exploring, especially if you get multiple apps out of it. It's not just like designated for one platform. It's worth looking into.
Cool. And then B asked, do you know anything about Hootsuite?
I have not used Hootsuite. I know that it's good for scheduling all of your, like you can do Facebook, LinkedIn. That's one of them that has all the different platforms. I have not used it, but from what I've heard, I think it has a pretty hefty monthly fee to use it. Like there's not a free version as far as I know. I could be totally telling you wrong, full disclosure, but from what I know about it, which admittedly is very little, I think there is not a free version and it's only a paid feature. So if you find yourself using something like that, then absolutely, dive in.
Yeah, it looks like the lowest plan for Hootsuite is $29 a month.
Yes.
But it's pretty robust. It allows you to have up to 10 social profiles, unlimited scheduling. So, I mean, if you I don't know, 10 social profiles to me seems overwhelming. But if you're on all of the apps and all of the platforms, it could maybe be worth it. But
that seems. Personally, I think that seems like a hefty price, especially when, it's definitely more convenient to have it all right there at your disposal instead of, you know, scheduling on multiple different platforms. But, you know, save yourself 29 bucks and get a few free ones, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, that looks like all of the questions. I really thought that Ripple app was cool. That would be really useful for listing photos. So.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of agents. That was actually Ellie Clark out of the Keystone office uses it fairly frequently. Yeah, it's a great way to get creative about posting your listings in a more like engaging way than just posting photos.
Awesome. I think that is it then, Maddie. As always, this is recorded. We will send out the recording. You can also find it on our YouTube page later today. And I think that's it. Thanks, Maddie.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining. Have a good day.